All right, so I'm going to try to figure out how to salvage this painting before I'm ready to just paint over it. I think it's too much. This is too big, this is too small and off-centered. Also, the color palette isn't as interesting as it could be. A lot of complements going on. We've got the purples and the yellows, and these pinks have a lot of purple in them, and some of the yellows have a bit of a mustardy look, which I don't mind. And then we have like the pinks and the greens, and I feel like there needs to be something else. I'm just not 100% sure about what that means. So I'm going to start by changing the shape of this down here and then maybe putting some neutrals on it. Let's see if we can save it. I think too, there's really not a lot of darks going on here. So I might just go in there with some dark tones and then work the lights back on top of that. There's not enough contrast at all, or value, depending on, they mean the same thing. Contrast and value are basically the same thing. You want to have a nice mix of lights and darks. So I'm going to take my trusty pre-made Prussian blue kind of color that I use, and actually I'm going to get Prussian blue out. All right, I'm just going to start by changing the shape of this container. Maybe I could round it. Let's see. I'm going to take it all the way to the bottom. And then I'm just going to fill it in for my own reference for now. That will definitely be refined at a later time. Already, it looks better. Already. So that was something, I guess, that was really freaking me out. Now I'm going to go in with some darks and then some neutrals on top. I'm going to start with this. And we always have to remember, right? It's just paint. And there will be the ability to paint over it later. Maybe I want kind of something wild looking. This is something I made with a house paint base, and I've added a little, actually I don't know if there's house paint in this, but I know I've added a bunch of water to it. So it's got a lot of slickness to it. It moves around really nice. But hey, it's a start. I'm just going to throw this dark into spots. Most of it will get painted over, but it will add that value to the piece where it's not 100% covering it up, right? I don't know. I recorded myself messing with this again the other day and then put these colors on here and then took this screen printing squeegee and just went, just obliterated it. I may post that video, I might not. It's okay. You guys get it. Now I may want some of these drips to happen. Just, again, I can paint over them. What's going on with you? Oh man, my bottle's breaking. Okay. Now that's going to be real wet. So when I go in there with more of the neutrals that I'm thinking about, I got to be careful about how they mix. Already though, I'm feeling like this can go in a more interesting direction. I'm not always sure why I get kind of stuck and wrapped up when I know how to fix it. I think I'm just really trying to push something different and see if I can make it work and get okay with it, I guess. I'm not really sure. I want to try to make something that is unique, but really they're all going to be different. They're all going to be their own unique thing if I let them. And if I use what I know, make them that way. So I do a lot of this sort of color blocking, these indistinct sort of flower shapes. That again is a personal preference of mine. I'm not super interested in seeing every little blossom and all of that. I'm trying to create something that is more or less an abstract composition that resembles flowers in a vase. So what I'm thinking about are the different forms and shapes that I'm putting on there and how the colors are behaving next to each other, what they look like next to each other. We'll put one more neutral flower, maybe this guy. I know that's white already, but just want to try to balance out where these colors are. Yeah, already I'm really enjoying that. I feel like I say that every time as I'm going through the process, and then I'll get to some endpoint where I'm trying to see whether it's done or not, and I'm just like, ugh, hate it, let's get rid of it. But for me, that is part of the process. For me, it's sort of a tug and pull with myself and the piece. Like we are dancing with each other and trying to find a rhythm that works for both of us. And I'm all too aware of what's going to happen with that blue and yellow there, but it might give me some interesting green things happening. Kind of okay. You ever really look at flower petals too? They often have this sort of hint of green in them, especially like white ones, like really white ones. You can see the green happening in them. My instinct is to try to make this make sense, but I want to be careful about that. I don't necessarily want it to make sense, right? Again, we're trying to do these abstract sort of color block compositions that resemble flowers in a container because we want something emotional and evocative and not just flowers in a vase. We want something representational, but that has a lot of feeling in it. And one of the ways to do that is with loose marks and trying to create a composition that is a little more cohesive, but abstract. I don't know. A lot of words. I could throw around a lot of fancy words, but at the end of the day, just trying to paint something interesting, and that my paintings, right? So I'm trying to get a feeling of them, get a feeling from them. I want these things to mean something to me as the person who made them. Because art should be about expressing yourself, pushing yourself. And remember, if I've made a color on here that I am not crazy about, I can just go back. Like, I don't really like that. So I can go back after it's dry and completely change the color of it. One thing I don't want to touch is this cute little daisy up here. I kind of want it to stay. I need a lot of this blue to dry before I can do a lot of other things. I can really start polishing up things. I'm thinking we will add a little more green just to make sure we're not losing the leaves in here. And what am I going to go with? Can't decide between sap green and hooker's green. They're both nice dark greens. We're going to go with hooker's green. Just a lot of these flowers are going to get painted over again and again. They've been painted over many times already, right? Oh my goodness. This thing has just been haunting me for, well, weeks, month or two at least. I'll fix that later. You know, maybe that's another reason why I really like these florals, is that there's always green. My favorite color. And I'm very much fond of the natural world and find a lot of sacredness in the color green. Touch, touch. We're just going to see what happens. Okay. All right. Already looking better, guys. Oh my goodness. It's like night and day from where we started here. I have a lot of pink sitting on my palette here. I don't know why I did that. I'm almost thinking about picking up another painting. But you know what? Before I do that, I am going to add a little more hints of pink blooms in here. And I'm thinking about variations of size, little ones, and sort of offset the big ones. And that one got weird, but again, we can come back. Just little blooms all over. I need one up here. Ooh, a lot of paint. You know, it's funny and really cute, and you guys can't hear it, I'm sure, but I have my little black cat. Well, she's not very little. She's like 15 pounds, but I can hear her snoring. She's sleeping at the other end of the studio. I'm not going to like that there, but that's okay. Let's do one of these. Just going to make some marks. Throw this yellow up here because why not? Not putting it on that canvas. And I get so angry with myself when I waste paint. So it doesn't grow on trees. All right, and that could be fun thing to come back to and play with while I'm on the couch watching some TV show or something with the hubby. And I can be drawing with various things on top of these colors, and it keeps me thinking about my art. It gives me a creative outlet that's more flexible than coming to the studio. Ooh, Poppy is sawing some wood. She is 12 years old and probably the sweetest thing ever. My sweet little creature. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with where this is going now, and I think there's a possibility of making it something really cool. But who knows? Later on today, I might think it's utter trash and I need to paint over it again. It's a fickle process, I guess. Working with abstraction, and I do realize that this isn't true abstraction because it's representational, but this is very much made of abstracted forms. And that is for me, often harder, well, 100% harder than just looking at something and trying to do exactly what you see there. I think that it's a lot harder. That's going to have to go. I'm not trying to say that it's not hard to learn how to draw things realistically. It is, but it's something you can learn. And once you know how to do it, you can pretty much draw what you want. And I think that abstraction is so much more challenging because there isn't just something to recreate necessarily. I try to give myself that the source images and all and try to take the pressure off, but when it comes down to it, you're still just working on the fly and trying to make a composition work. Yeah, and this, I didn't use a source material at all for this. I absolutely did not. I can use some of these as inspiration now, but when I first came in here and drew that and started painting it, there was no reference material. I just did it from my head, which might also be why it was such a challenge. Maybe I should have referenced something and it would have made it less of a struggle. Okay, I'm going to stop messing with this for now, although I just want to do that, which I know I'm going to darken up with a different color later, but yeah, I'm feeling good about that. I think there's hope for this yet. There's still a lot to do though. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. Do you think it's better now? Do you think it's not as good as it was? I can absolutely take the critique, and I appreciate constructive criticism. I absolutely do. And I just think we can be kind about it. And at the end of the day, remember that we all have different aesthetics and different preferences. And we all have to make the art that we were born to make. So I'm going to let this dry, maybe pick up another one because I'm full of ideas and inspiration today. And until next time, see ya.
Who's my good boy?